Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar Spotter V9. My name is de Buschere Dominique, and together with my colleague Michael, we are going to present you this webinar. If all goes well, you should be able to hear and see us. Do understand that due to the COVID-19 conditions, Michael and myself, we are not at the same place, so we're going to have to toggle between the videos on the way that we present. So hopefully, let's say, technology does not fail us and Murphy is not present. So before we move further, I would like to say first some webinar house rules. You're all muted to avoid unexpected background noise during this webinar, but at the end of the webinar, we will have a Q&A session. If you have any questions during the webinar on the subject, you can find on the right side of your screen the chat or question icon where you can submit your questions. You don't have to wait until the end of the webinar, you can actually do this during. Okay, with that done, we can move forward. And sorry, too fast. So here are today's topics. So first of all, we're going to present ourselves a little bit information of who we are. Next, we are going to go through some VMS highlights. And then, of course, the goal of the webinar, our Spotter V9. And at the end, we're going to do the Q&A. So Mirasys was founded in 1997 and was one of the first manufacturers in the video management system. We have a global presence with activity over 40 countries worldwide. We have more than 70,000 customers worldwide and over more than 1 million cameras connected to our VMS. We are also an UNVIF contributing member and a Microsoft Gold certified partner. Our solution is spread over lots of verticals, such as banking, casinos, stadiums, shopping malls, cities, prisons, and on. Here on the right side of the screen, you can actually see some of our references. On this slide, you can see that we're actually a completely open platform with a lot of integrations possible. For a VMS manufacturer, you must understand that the camera is clearly important. So we have more than 8,000 cameras directly integrated via native drivers from many brands and even more through UNVIF. Lots of other technologies like video analytics, access control, SIM software, and so on, they're all part of our open platform. So Michael.
Yes, thank you, Dominic. Hello, everybody. I don't know if my video is also shared, but this is now coming my slides. I will tell you a bit about the Mirasys VMS highlights. And I'm sitting here in beautiful Helsinki. The weather is typical 12 degrees like most of the year. And we enjoy the coming Finnish winter. I have the same slide here. Yes, so as many of you know already, Mirasys is a client server-based architecture VMS. That means we're running the services on a server in the background, and from everywhere you can access the data via your client. And we offer for this, for example, mobile clients or Windows applications, which the Windows application provides most of the functionality, but we have also a web browser application to access this data. So everything is possible to get the access to video footage or alarms or stored data right where you need it. And you can store the data certainly on local network storages. We have our proprietary storage system, which has a huge advantage as well, that if you have multiple disks where you're storing your data and one of the disks might fail, you're not losing all the stored data from this camera, but only some frames in between. So this is a high security, even if you don't run a RAID system, which does basically the same to protect you from losing data. We have with our own storage system a big advantage not to lose any data. And you can also use certainly network storages from wherever you want to store the data. Even cloud is nowadays possible for the storage. And you can choose what disk speed you are choosing for your hardware for the storage. Then, like Dominic said, we are open platform system, so we are not bound to any camera manufacturer. We are very close working with ONWIF and contributing there in this forum also to improve the ONWIF standards and guarantee that all the cameras which are certified by ONWIF are working with our software. And that makes our software also is very independent from any other third vendors to a project. So and we can basically deliver to any market our video management software, and not only traditional to the security market, but also hospitality, education, entertainment, and wherever the customer can benefit out of the data in connection with video footage, we can customize the software to use for it. Next slide, please. Here we see one of our applications, the Windows application, which traditionally was named Spotter application. And here you certainly can benefit out of all the features of the software. Since we are a Microsoft partner, this is unfortunately running only on Windows operating system. The web browser is certainly running also on Macintosh and Linux, or mobile device on Android, for example, or Apple phones. But with this application, you really can have all the benefits of customizing the software and using it according to your needs. We will come later a bit more to the functionality of the application, but as you see here already, there is a lot of powerful search tools integrated in a plugin architecture, so you can just open another tab and do a specific search. Then we have maps in this user interface as well. Alarm management, so you can pop up a camera based on an alarm, for example, on a different monitor, even if you want. And we have forensics and reporting tools to see system health or camera checks and whatever happened in the whole scenario. Next slide, please. So here we see a bit more features about this user interface. And you see here there is a navigation tree like we have in all Microsoft applications. If somebody was working with Microsoft Office, he will have no problem whatsoever to really understand our software and intuitively know what to do, what to click. There is drag and drop possibilities. So even users which use our application only once per month will find their way around, very easy to achieve what they are searching for. But also professionals who work daily with our software can customize the application in a way that it's most efficient for them. So there is also possibility to use keyboard shortcuts or joystick icons or joystick buttons to change cameras, to use PTZ control. Then there is a alarm list certainly where you could click to go into the playback. So everything is possible. Also logical grouping in the navigation. So it's not server based, the grouping. You can really, according to the customer's operational structure, customize the user interface that everybody finds his way around. Also navigation via map, for example, is possible to drill into from an overview map, for example, into the camera you really want to see, or a group of cameras, and you can open them with one mouse click to show on another monitor to really have the right information at the right hand. Like I mentioned, it's a plugin architecture, so there is additional functionalities are all separated in plugins. The search plugins I mentioned already, a map plugin, very important is the browser plugin, what we have also, so you can open any web page in the Spotter and show it next to the camera. So that is, for example, interesting if you want to use Google Maps and you have some locations there saved already, and you want to have just a map overview next to the camera, or if you have a third-party system access control fire alarm system and you want to show this also in the same user interface. This is all possible with our plugin architecture, so you can mix there whatever you want to see from the internet or internal web servers. And the same way, we are now providing also own applications which are video relevant to show this in the spotter. So the spotter is basically the framework, we said, for all the features and applications we can provide. Next slide, please. Here we have a very special client to our client server architecture. We call it the video wall, and traditional, this is in big operation centers, very useful, where an operator has his own small monitors where he's handling certain alarms or cases, but then when they are relevant for the whole team in the room, then he can put them to the wall. This is all certainly full digital. The earlier video walls were analog, so we are capable of using normal TVs, for example, displaying this, which makes the control room setup much cheaper than it was like 10 years ago. And another use case of this video wall we found out, or a customer of us found out, is actually that you could place these monitors also somewhere around your shopping mall, and you want to control what is shown on these monitors from this video wall client. So this is also possible because it is just an operator console where the operator can assign to each monitor what should be shown there, and even partly only shown on this, so that you could even add there some advertisement or other information you want to show to somebody on this monitor. Even you don't see this monitor right around you, but you can manage this all from your operator console and provide additional features to a large installation. Next slide. Yes, this is about the integrations. Like Dominic already said, we have over 8,000 different cameras, what we tested by ourselves with native drivers. There is every day a new manufacturer is adding new cameras. So typically they are working all on the same SDK. So this number is daily basically increasing, this 8,000. But even bigger amount of new cameras are coming in via ONWIF standards. This is very promising for the future, that we can via ONWIF provide more camera connectivity than ever before. So I guess we are already far over 10,000 with cameras what we can support. Then other integration possibilities. Some of you might still remember the old COM port or RS-232 connections, where we can get serial data into the system. This is still available, certainly in our software. But nowadays, the modern system, they are just sending via TCP/IP some messages, and we can process this as well. Even UDP data or HTTP we can process, and the format is also not so important. If it's XML, then it's certainly much better. It's structured, and we can easier create on the react on the events. But even if it's only ASCII text, we have the possibility to search in this message sent for keywords and then create on it. JSON format is, for example, also possible. So there's a huge variety of possibilities to integrate into our system, to raise alarms, or even the other way around, to receive from our system if an alarm was raised by a camera, motion sensor, or whatever, to inform other systems that there was an event happening. We have on several levels APIs and SDKs for internal integration or external. So there is also the possibility to receive video streams, certainly from our software. And we have the traditional I/O integrations, like typically we suggest Moxa boxes because they became on the security market at least very sophisticated. But also if an I/O device has an HDP interface. We can control this from our software with buttons, or you can even make virtual buttons just to make the user interface according to the customer needs. And this is where we see a huge strength in our software, that it can really be adjusted to any vertical and any level of user experience to provide business intelligence or better decision data for the customer. And there we come into this big story about data warehousing, because we also saw that video is a long time not only the main data we are storing. We are since 10 years already storing metadata, and there we are providing much more possibilities for the customers to benefit out of this data. Okay, next slide. So the version 7 currently still on sales from our side was a very good software, and we were very happy with it. And it was more than 10 years now already sold. And we have still customers who are saying we don't want to have anything else than the version 7, but we come to an end of life. And this is not only because of us, it's also the Windows operating system. Everything got on 64-bit, and the operating systems are making bit to support old software architectures. So we had already several sessions where we had to adjust our version 7 code according to the updates of Microsoft Windows. And this is why we decided to set the version 7 end of life March next year. So please be aware that when you want to keep on having secure access to your data, that you update from version 7 to version 8. The big change in the version 8 is also our way how we store data. So unfortunately, you have to save the data from version 7 before you update on an external storage. And because the version 8 will not be able to read the old data. The current version of the version 8 is the 8.3.8, and that's a very sophisticated version now, and our best developed version 8, what we have at the moment. Okay, next slide. So now we're coming finally to version 9. What is this webinar about? And the name Spotter became just too good name on the market to indicate this is an VMS product. So we use this now for the version 9 as the product name also. Spotter version 9, brand new and very exciting what we can deliver on this side. And I hand over to Dominik again.
Yeah, if everything goes well, video should be going over, and my sound is back. So thank you, Michael. So yes, indeed, we have now become on the Spotter V9. So in comparison to our previous version, Spotter V9 is actually now offered in 3 editions. But when we released it, we actually announced at the same time it was not possible to upgrade yet from any previous version. So officially, actually, we released it as a brand new version. But in the meantime, our development team have been very busy. And since yesterday morning, yeah, that's right, yesterday morning, we can officially announce that we have now the option to upgrade from any previous version to Spotter V9. We had to make some changes to make that possible. So that means that instead of 3 editions, we actually have now 4 editions. We have added the Enterprise Plus. So in general, we'll have a base, a Pro, an Enterprise, and an Enterprise Plus. So the difference between the editions is mainly based on features, which will be shown a little bit in the next slide. But let's say in general, a base has less features available than the Pro, and the Pro has less features available than the Enterprise, and so on. Now, between the Enterprise and the Enterprise Plus, there are hardly any limitations. We've created the base actually purely for smaller project sites, the so-called run rate business, with, for example, a limitation up to 20 cameras on a single server. And the Pro has more features than the base and has limited to 50 cameras on a single server. And the Enterprise is for larger projects with almost no limitations. Our V9 Enterprise and Enterprise Plus are very similar, but the biggest difference is that the Enterprise Plus contains VCA with all video licenses. So for an example, if you have 100 video licenses, you will have at the same time 100 VCA licenses. So with those 4 additions, we would be able to offer in any part of the market from small, let's say private homes, small retail shops, to very large enterprise projects such as cities or prisons. Now, in the next slides, we're going to go a little bit deeper into the technical points. So I'm switching back over now to Michael.
Thank you, Dominic. Next slide, please. Yes, so now we are talking about the features of the version 9. As you can see, base is really only meant as a standalone system, and where this is fitting your customer needs and you need to be price competitive, then this is the right version certainly to use. If it is a smaller installation with up to 3 servers connected to each other, then we are suggesting the Pro, so you can cover even small shopping malls maybe. And then with the Enterprise, we are coming really in an area where we talk about larger systems. And you see here that we can connect up to 150 servers or even unlimited servers in the Enterprise. And we have reference installations like in Bangkok, where we have up to 20,000 cameras connected to one system, and it's all accessible via central management. So this is really showing the capability of our software and what we can do for especially city surveillance. But we have now with the Base and Pro also the possibility to go into smaller markets and say we deliver the right solution for our customers in this area. Next slide, please. Yes. Now I want to talk a bit about the VCA, since that was a bit of change in the version 9. We have a new engine actually in, but it doesn't mean that you can still upgrade your VCA when you come from 8, and you can still use the same VCA license to have the functionalities you paid for already. But if you buy the new license from the Enterprise Plus version 9, then you will get these listed features. The first ones are what we had always. What is a bit new is the color and the logical rules that make a bit more sophisticated the use of the VCA, because you can apply certain events to each other and make then an alarm, and that just reduces the amount of false alarms and makes your system even more stable. There is also additional features coming, as like you see here, this deep learning filter and face detection. Deep learning people tracker is still gray. That will come to our software. So we are on the right track to provide all the features which are available on the market, and it's via the same engine. So it just has to be enabled via a license key, and that will come also very soon to our software. Now, next slide, please. Now I want to tell you a bit about these rules, how we can have this advanced usage of the video content analyzer. So for example, if a car is turning to the left and within 1 minute a person is crossing the street, then you can trigger an alarm. So there are these and or connections are possible. And we will get also external triggers for this. So you could now, via this rule engine in the video content analysis, you could have a complete rule engines coming from outside that, for example, an IO is triggered from your Moxa box or fire alarm system. And then there is an object detected in your yard. Or a person running in an area and other criteria is fulfilled. So you can here make several rules which are providing special use cases and the alarms for it. Next slide, please. And now we are coming back to the data analysis in our software. Like I mentioned before, it's not only video data, it's a lot of VCA and metadata. Internet of Things are all producing metadata which might be relevant for your operation or the customer's operation. And so we want to go forward with our software to provide an intelligence out of this data. And most of the time, the video is anyway used only as a reference. If somebody wants to go back and say, okay, why was there at 3 o'clock on this highway so much traffic jam? Then they want to see one camera which is just confirming it. But the relevant information is that there was a traffic jam. So in several cases, it might be not even necessary to see really the camera, but it is enough to have a graph on a mobile phone even, which is not necessarily a security manager, but just somebody who wants to benefit out of this data. We have a lot of experience in retail already with people counting and activities in front of a shop, for example, if they run a campaign, but we can now increase this to any other areas wherever we receive metadata. There could be temperature sensors, there could be anything which is providing data. So we can store them and the customer can go back and maybe compare a year ago, how was the marketing campaign in our shopping mall a year ago, and why do we have this year more people coming there? So this can be all analyzed where the video is only a secondary relevant. So this we see very important that the customer can benefit out of the data we created for him to make better business intelligence decisions. Next slide, please. Then certainly the application of artificial intelligence is becoming a big subject in our field, and we are providing more and more tools where this data can be analyzed and automatically then alarm if a certain threshold has been reached. And we are moving forward very strong in this direction also to provide these functionalities in the cloud. Certainly, we started already moving our architecture from a monolithic application to microservices. And so we can deploy them also in the future platform independent. So just that you know that we are going in this direction to keep pace with the upcoming technologies. So 28 minutes. We are very good in time for some more questions. Let me see if we find anything. We have here one question from when is this software available? It is already available. If you go to our homepage and request a demo, you will get the version 9. And if you are interested in some specific features, then please contact your sales representative to enable this in your license. Typically, our demo license has only one channel for 90 months available, 90 days, sorry. But if you want to have a more comprehensive demo, then please contact us and we can provide you just a license to the same software, which enables the features what you might be interested into. Just screening the questions. Compatibility to older versions, yes, that's all possible. You can add older versions also to the version 9. So in this sense, we are downwards compatible. So even if you have a version 7, for example, and you have no chance to throw away the old data, you can still add this version 7 to a version 9 master server. But please keep in mind that version 7 will become end of life next year, and that you might run into operating system problems sooner or later. So we really strongly encourage to go to version 8, also that you are future-proof, prepared to the metadata storage and whatever data your system is producing, and your customer can get added value out of this data, not only the video footage. Okay, 30 minutes. We have some more questions here, but we promise to answer them via email because we want to stay right in time here. And Dominic, you still have something from us for us?
Yeah, Michael, we still have a few questions that I see, but there's a lot coming in, so most likely we will have to answer them indeed personally. But let me see if I can still find a question here. I see a question: is it possible to upgrade from the base to the Pro and from the Pro to the Enterprise? Yes, you can. So we have a colleague of us has actually created a document which is a kind of a guideline in order to what do I need to do to upgrade from any version that we have, from a 7 to an 8, from an 8 to the 9, and of course if you want to go from a base to a Pro, from a Pro to an Enterprise, or even from an Enterprise to an Enterprise Plus, what are the steps and what do I actually need? So yes, you can, and there's a document available in order to have it. See, there's a whole of the list. I see it would be good to have the list of the VCA into the feature list. Yeah, that's maybe a good idea, but you know what you saw on the slide actually was just the top of the whole feature list. The full feature list is available even on our website, and it contains, I think, 3 or 4 pages. But it would be good if we can actually add an extra page to it to give you all the VCA possibilities. Yep, that's a good idea. Michael, I don't know if you still see any that you can.
Now, most of the questions we have to answer really by email because it is very specific, and it would be too short answer to answer them now.
Okay, well, let's do it like this. Let's go through all those questions, and we provide them the answers in person to that particular person then. So then we respect a little bit also the timing. And for that being said, I would say thank you everybody for joining this webinar. Hope it was interesting for you, and let's get in touch very soon.